Judge Lyman just ruled, and guess what? Blake Lively just lost.
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Shashti Flo, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. I'm not back in Spain, although it could look like that because I have a different background, but I do have a new studio. This is a lot better than the one I had because the one I had was kind of in the middle of our apartment and there was a window there that gave me the lighting, which was kind of changing during the day. And that also made it really hard for me to do these recordings after sunset. So now I can record any time of the day and I'm here and I hope you like this studio. I'm going to do some upgrades here and there, I think. But please leave a comment below if you have any suggestions that what I can do different or if you like this new studio. Anyways, let's get into things straight away. The judge just dismissed Blake Lively's case against Jed Wallace. I'll get into that shortly. Also, there's a new statement from Brian Friedman, who's finally coming out to say what all the headlines have been saying the last couple of days is all false. Just as I reported here, and as the other content creators who actually are reading the court documents were reporting on, the ones that actually read what the judge said in his ruling. We knew this all the time, but the media didn't bother to read any of it. So now they got to eat it up and correct their articles. And some of them are actually taking responsibility and doing it. Also, Blake Lively is desperate to get hold of those signal messages, but she knows they're not there anymore. And now she's asking Baldoni's team the most ridiculous thing that you ever heard. And more people have looked into this list that I spoke about the other day of potential people who has knowledge to the situation of what happened on It Ends With Us or the smear campaign. And this is quite interesting. It's not about the people who are on Blake's list, but the people who are not. Josh Brolin was on Jimmy Kimmel yesterday, and he said something about Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds. And Kim Kardashian's TV show is the worst TV show in history, according to the reviews. 0 points on Rotten Tomatoes. And yesterday, I went to a press junket. I haven't done interviews like that and sit down in person for years, and it was great. It was for a movie called Sentimental Value. I interviewed Stellan Skarsgård and Elle Fanning and the Norwegian actresses in the movie. I'm going to share that with you soon. I have some really interesting quotes from Stellan that I can't wait to share with you guys. Anyways, as I said, Jed Wallace is dismissed by the judge today. He concluded the Wallace defendant's motion to dismiss the second amended complaint for lack of personal jurisdiction is granted. The second amended complaint is dismissed as to the Wallace defendants without prejudice to refiling in a court that has personal jurisdiction. The clerk of court is respectfully directed to close it. So, congratulations to Jed Wallace. So what this really means is that he does not belong in this judge's jurisdiction, in this court. So if Blake Lively still wants to go after him, which I'm sure she will, she needs to go after him in Texas. As I said, I just learned about this news, so I'm not updated on everything that it says. It is about 40 pages here with the judge explaining why he's doing what he's doing. And I think this is terrible for Blake. This is another loss for Blake. This is a big loss for Blake. I can't wait to see all the headlines that are going to be out there about this hired gun who was supposed to be the brain behind her smear campaign, that he's dismissed from this case. If the media twist this exactly the way that Blake just twisted what the judge ruled the other day, then Jed Wallace could say, my case was dismissed. There was no smear campaign. Let's see if the media is going to angle it that way. Anyways, let's get into what Brian Friedman just said in the Daily Mail. So they did a story like everyone else the other day saying that he missed a deadline, which I and a lot of other content creators commented on. He chose not to amend his complaint because he wanted the opportunity to appeal later. And this is exactly what Brian Friedman is saying here. So Daily Mail have a headline saying, "Buckle up, Blake." Justin Baldoni reveals It Ends With Us court battle is far from over. For a day, it appeared to be all over. It didn't. Only for the people who didn't actually bother to read the court documents, and that includes the reporter from the Daily Mail who reported on this, probably after just reading what TMZ did and didn't even bother to look at the legal papers to report on the truth. So no, it didn't appear to all be over for the people who actually did their research. Anyways, now the Daily Mail can exclusively reveal that the legal hatchet between Blake Lively and erstwhile co-star Justin Baldoni is far from buried. While Lively, 38, celebrated what looked like a win by dressing up as an old lady for Halloween celebration with husband Ryan Reynolds, Baldoni's team have hit back at reports that claimed his $400 million It Ends With Us lawsuit against Blake was busted flush due to missed deadlines. So this is what Blake and Ryan dressed up as for Halloween. Our beloved characters, now they stole them from us too. Carl and Ellie from the animated movie Up. I love that movie. It's so sweet. And now, yeah, let's erase that memory from our minds. But anyways, I love that they said that she celebrated her win by dressing up as an old lady. In a statement released exclusively to the Daily Mail, Friedman said, "The truth regarding this case continuously and completely gets distorted in the media." So true. Even something as simple as a procedural update has resulted in a total mischaracterization. He went on, "At this point, we have to set the record straight. No deadlines were missed. Our clients chose not to amend their complaint to preserve appeal rights." As I said the other day too, the reason why they didn't amend back in June was because they were planning to appeal and they didn't want to lose the opportunity to appeal. So if they had amended, they wouldn't be able to do that. And that's exactly what he's saying here. And he says, "In the meantime, we are focusing on Ms. Lively's claims. We remain fully committed to pursuing the truth through every legal and factual avenue available and look forward to our day in court." And now let's see how TMZ handled this news. So here is the original headline that TMZ ran a few days ago. It said, "Exclusive. Justin Baldoni accepts loss in Blake legal war, but she's not done with him." Now the headline of the same article is changed to "Justin Baldoni final judgment entered, dismissing his Blake suit, but she's not done with him." So very different headline. I wouldn't say the second one is as clickbaity as the first one, obviously. And the old version of this started like this. Justin Baldoni looks like he has accepted his fate in his legal war with Blake Lively because he missed the deadline to appeal a judge ruling that dismissed the lawsuit against her, Ryan Reynolds, and the New York Times. Now it says, Justin Baldoni isn't seeking to restart his lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and the New York Times, for now at least, because the deadline to amend that suit has passed and the final judgment dismissing the case is now official. Actually, this is quite wrong as well, saying that he isn't seeking to restart his lawsuit. How do you even restart a lawsuit? You appeal it, but that's not restarting it. But anyways, they did print a correction at the bottom here. And they did this like after 24 or 48 hours when this article is so far down on the page. No one's going to read this correction. No one's going to read this new headline and think, oh, wasn't that the story I read the other day? No. So the correction is saying a previous version of this post stated Baldoni had missed the deadline to appeal. In fact, he did not miss that deadline, but he can no longer refile his claims against Blake, Ryan, and the New York Times. However, once the judge makes a ruling on Blake's request for Justin to pay her attorney's fees, Justin could still appeal to reverse the dismissal of this case. So there you go. But as I said, this doesn't really matter at this point because everyone already read the first article when it came up on the front page of their website. So same thing that they did to me at the New York Times when I contacted them and said, hey, you are accusing me of being a part of the smear campaign and working with Baldoni's team, or insinuating that in the article, and you didn't call me for comment, and then they added a statement 24 hours later, that's too late, and no one's going to read that. Anyways, BBC actually had more decency here, but I have to say I was shocked that they actually went for this without doing the due diligence themselves. I trusted BBC a lot more than I trust TMZ, obviously. BBC at least did a second article. So the first article they published said Justin Baldoni case against Blake Lively closed by judge. And then they did a new article saying Justin Baldoni chose not to refile lawsuit, his lawyer says. And now they have all the facts right. All the facts that the content creators were reporting on. Anyways, apparently people went crazy on X. By people, I think I mean Blake and Ryan's bot team went crazy on X celebrating this win. I'm like, what is this? This is so weird to me. I just find it so suspicious that all of these Blake Lively supporters are all of a sudden coming out of the woodworks and celebrating her win. And they're also insinuating that all of us content creators that are actually looked into the facts and reported on the legal court documents should apologize because she was right. I mean, it's so dumb. What I don't understand about these pro-Blake Lively people is that why do they choose to just keep their blinders on and not be open to reviewing some of the evidence and the lack of evidence that we see from Blake Lively's team? I feel there's no critical thinking there. And that's why I find this whole movement behind her so suspicious. Because if you have some common sense and you analyze all the facts that we have so far, how can you not see that she's abusing the legal process? And talking about that, Blake has now filed another letter to the judge telling him that Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair parties have not given them a privilege log yet with those signal messages. Remember those invisible signal messages that they believe that is the key to the whole smear campaign? They believe that all the evidence are in those signal messages. And now they're saying to the judge that we asked Baldoni's team and the Wayfair parties and everyone involved there to create a privilege log to explain what was in all those messages that we haven't seen and who were in those chats and when they happened. I mean, who remembers what they said who was in a conversation, what date that was done, from going a year or 2 years back on your text messages? It's insane. This is another PR stunt from Blake Lively's lawyers, again, trying to convince the public that Baldoni and the Wayfair parties are hiding evidence. What they're saying here as well is that the privilege log should also include the communication that the Wayfair parties and Baldoni had with their lawyer. So they're saying there shouldn't be any attorney-client privilege here, because Brian Friedman was obviously a part of that smear campaign. And what they were talking about in those signal messages was about smearing Blake Lively. Yeah, this again is all about the optics. This is what Blake Lively's lawsuit is now all about. It's all about creating an illusion in the public eye. It's all about getting power over the headlines, which we saw that they just did. And it's all about painting Justin Baldoni as difficult, that they're hiding evidence, and that, of course, Blake Lively is the victim here. Anyway, someone pointed out to me that this list that I was talking about the other day, the revised list of people that Blake Lively just filed in court, showing people that she believes has knowledge to the situation of what happened on the set of It Ends With Us or with the alleged smear campaign. As I said, I'm on the list. A lot of people are on that list. But what's interesting about this list are the people who's not on the list. Why are there no cinematographers or crew members or assistant directors on Blake's list of people who had knowledge to what happened on the set of It Ends With Us? Those are people who were there at all times and witnessed everything that went on that set. Those people, though, are on Justin Baldoni's list. Isn't that interesting? Just another reminder of what's really going on here. And thank you, Lotta, for sending me this story on Yahoo. I started laughing when I read this. This is so funny. Okay, so here's the story saying that fans called Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' Halloween video so cute. So by fans, they're referring to the 17 people who were allowed to comment on the video. Because as we know, they have closed off the comment section because they're getting trolled by so many people who dislike them. And now 17 people have said nice things about them. The 17 curated people that Blake Lively chose said, so cute, adorable, too good. Meanwhile, one fan commented, my favorite couple. And then Yahoo made a story that fans think that their Halloween costume was so cute. The 17 fans that they have left, I guess. Well, anyways, someone else who doesn't have that many fans left, I think, especially after this TV show, is Kim Kardashian. And now I think the question here is this TV show so bad that it is good? So the TV show is called All Fair. And Kim Kardashian plays a lawyer. And there's some amazing actors here. Naomi Watts, Glenn Close. These are like Oscar-nominated winning actresses. But this TV show, All is Fair, from Ryan Murphy, who's doing so many successful TV shows, has gotten 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And one critic from The Guardian is explaining that they have only published 15 zero-star reviews in the entire history of The Guardian, and this TV show is getting one. The journalist here is writing that she did not know it was still possible to make television this bad. Well, now I think I have to watch this show just to see how bad it is. So maybe this is some good PR. Maybe we can all hate watch it together if it is on the level of hate watching. Because I think sometimes if they're too bad, you can't even hate watch. So let me know if you actually watched it and what you think about it. Anyways, before I go, I wanted to show this clip with Josh Brolin. He was on Jimmy Kimmel yesterday and he talked about his daughters that are obsessed with Taylor Swift and that he started enjoying Taylor Swift. And that at one point, he called his friend Ryan Reynolds.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
I don't like admitting that, but it's true. And I literally called Ryan Reynolds, and I was like, she's actually pretty great, right? I was like, I sounded like a teenage girl. I was like,
to check
I did.
in?
I was like, you look, I know you know her, and is it like she's super special, right? And he never answered.
He didn't answer.
So yes, Ryan didn't respond. I don't know if Josh Brolin did not read any headlines lately, if he's not reading the news from Hollywood, but I think everyone at this point know that Ryan is not on speaking terms with Taylor Swift. So I thought this was so funny. Either it just shows how ignorant he is, or he's taking a dig at Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, that's it from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed my new studio. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And thank you everyone for being so kind to Lynette and Kevin who came on here yesterday talking about their experiences with Blake and Ryan. If you haven't watched that, you should go back because it's a really good episode. They're really spilling the tea. Tomorrow, I have another guest here on my show, so please stay tuned for that as well. He's going to tell you the shocking story of when Ryan Reynolds went after him to try and destroy his livelihood and how he ended up in jail. Yes, thanks for watching, you guys. And please subscribe if you haven't and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Blossom Talk. And I'll see you soon. Bye.
Yeah, we've lost some talk.